So excited to do this pre-assessment. This is such a good pre-assessment. There's some really good questions here. So buckle up. Here we go. Solve each inequality and graph its solution. So one of the things that I will really push that you pay attention to is noticing the differences between 2-4, 2-5, and 2-6. What students tend to do is they mix up the things that they're supposed to do. They overanalyze a basic question like number 1, and they think of something totally different. So keeping track and recognizing what you need to do and what they're asking you to do. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to simplify this, and negative 6v plus 6v is 0. This is a false statement, and so the answer is no solution. Mr. Mack opened you up with a super tricky one. That's not very nice of him. But there are no solutions that will solve this inequality. Now we throw in some fractions. We again, I don't know why I do it in green. We are going to simplify that right side, and 2r minus 3 halves r. So we're going to convert 2r to 4 halves r. That's equivalent. Minus 3 halves r gives us 3/4 is greater than or equal to 1/2 r. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 2. And we're going to cancel. That 2 is in the numerator, the 4 is in the denominator. So that becomes 3 halves is greater than or equal to r. And we can rewrite that if you want to rewrite it, that's fine. R is less than or equal to 3 halves. Now, some of you understand that 3 halves is 1 1/2. So because we have to place it on the number line, it is in our best interest to convert it to a fraction or a mixed number or a decimal. So 1 1/2 is going to be right here. And we are going to have a closed circle, and we will be going to the left. R is less than or equal to 1 1/2. Now we also have decimals. Let's simplify those two terms. We can combine them because they're on the same side of this inequality. So we get 9 minus 1.8r is less than negative 5.4. We can erase that a little bit, but we can leave that part. That'll be okay. Everybody will understand what that is. Now, our variables are already consolidated on the left side, so we're going to move this constant over. We get negative 1.8r is less than negative 14.4. And then we're going to divide by negative 1.8. Divide by negative 1.8. R is greater than, because we divided both sides by a negative, we must flip that inequality. And we get, where's my calculator? We can do a calculator. The 7th grade is being super loud. Don't know if you can hear them, but if I wasn't being recorded, you know Mr. Mack would go over and ask those students to please be quiet. That is positive 8. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So my solution is going to be r is greater than 8, open circle, going to the right. Number 4, we can simplify one of the sides. We always want to simplify if we can prior to moving things. Now we're going to move variables first. We get negative 2 is greater than or equal to 10 plus 2x minus 10 minus 10. Negative 12 is greater than or equal to 2x. Divide by 2. We get negative 6 is greater than or equal to x, which can be written as x is less than or equal to negative 6. So closed circle on negative 6, going to the left. Making sure less than, close circle, perfect. Oh, look at that. All right, so we can tackle this in a couple ways. We could either multiply everything by 2, looking at the denominators. We can find the common multiple of all the denominators. They all happen to be 2. Actually, 1 is over there. But we can multiply everything by 2, which would get rid of it. You get 8v minus 3 plus 3 is less than 3v minus 5. Because when you do that, the numerator is going to cancel with that denominator. And this numerator is going to cancel with that denominator after you multiply that. And this numerator is going to cancel with that denominator. And that numerator is going to dance that one. And then you would have to multiply 2 times 4v. That's why you get 8v. Now we can simplify. And now we can move the 3v over. And 5v is less than negative 5. Divide by 5. And we get v is less than negative 1. Open circle at negative 1, going to the less than. If you're okay with fractions, then you could have just dealt with it and you didn't need to get rid of that too. The denominator, excuse me. All right, we have 3 terms that we can simplify over here and 2 over here. So this is v plus, we're going to subtract 1.7, that's going to be 4, and that's going to be 3.4 is greater than or equal to v plus 3.4. Oh my! Let's move the variables first. We get 3.4 is greater than or equal to 3.4. The variables canceled and created a true statement. So my answer is all real numbers. That's my answer. And then if I needed to graph that solution, I'm going to graph a line above the number line with 2 arrows on that line. That represents the values going towards negative infinity and positive infinity. And I need to write all real numbers also. All right, 2 ways we can do this. We could either distribute to get rid of, I wonder if you can hear that. It'll be interesting to see if you can hear him. So we can distribute to get rid of Chewbacca, or we can divide everything by negative 4. Now watch this trickiness. That's going to cancel. You're left with 8x minus 4. This produces negative 2. And because we multiplied and divided by a negative, we have to flip the inequality. So we have to be careful about that. That's going to be important. A lot of people will make that mistake. And we get negative 38, negative 38. 1, 5, 2, 2 divided by 4 gives me 38. Good. And negative because we divided a positive by a negative. And let's simplify those. 8x minus 6 is less than or equal to negative 38. Let's add 6. 8x is less than or equal to negative 32. Divide by 8. X is less than or equal to negative 4. We're going to have a closed circle over negative 4 going to the left. That's a good one. Let's see who used the, oh my goodness. All right. Let's get rid of the denominators. No, let's not get rid of the yeah, let's get rid of the denominators. These are the denominators. These are not, this is not part of it because Chewbacca is protecting those. So we're just concerned with those 2 denominators. So if we multiply by 2, you get negative 107. That cancels that one. You have to multiply this by 2 because it's outside. So is negative 8 parentheses 11 fourths x plus 3 fourths. and then these two cancel to plus 9. Well, Mr. Mack, I didn't get rid of the fractions. Well, I got rid of some of them. And we don't have to worry about these because we're going to distribute. And when we distribute that 8, this denominator and numerator are actually going to work to our advantage. So we get negative 107 is greater than or equal to 2 times 11 is negative 22x. Don't forget the x. And then we're going to multiply negative 8 times this, which again gives us negative 2 and 3, which is negative 6. After we distribute, Chewbacca's gone, and don't forget that 9 over there. We can simplify those. Negative 107 is greater than or equal to negative 22x plus 3. Let's subtract 3. Negative 110 is greater than or equal to negative 22x. Divide by negative 22. We're going to flip the sign, so it becomes less than or equal to. 11 goes into that 10 times. 11 goes in 2 times. All right, so that equals 5. I'm going to check. 110 divided by 22 gives me 5. Good. And 2 negatives make a positive, so x is greater than or equal to 5. Close circle, going to the right. Okay. Well, 3 goes into 8166, so I'm going to divide by negative 3. That gives me 1 minus 5.7x. We have to flip the inequality because we divided both sides. And then on the right side, we have a negative divided by a negative. So it makes positive. 3 goes into 8 twice. Goes in 21 7 times. And 22. We are going to subtract 1. Negative 5.7x is greater than or equal to 26.22. Divide by negative 5.7. Negative 5.7. We again have to flip the inequality, and we're going to get a negative, and I don't know what that is, 26.22 divided by 5.7 gives me 4.6. So negative 4.6, x is less than or equal to negative 4.6. This is negative 5. So this is our negative 4s go in here. So this is negative 4.0. And then we're going to increase and get bigger numbers. Going this way would be all 3s, because this is 3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.9, and then we go to 4. So knowing where to place that negative 4.6 is going to be right about this, negative 4.6. It is closed circle. It is going less than, so I'm going to go to the left. Let's make sure I flipped and did everything. Yeah, good. All right, now we have variables on both sides. I can divide everything by negative 2 if I want to get rid of all of that. That's going to leave me with 4n minus 4 minus 4. It's going to be less than because I'm dividing by a negative. This is kind of tricky. That's negative 4n plus 8. So that did not get rid of Chewbacca. And we're going to have to distribute that into. So that was a little bit tricky. It didn't get rid of all of them. See that negative down here? With that positive, that's why this ended up being negative 4. So we can simplify that in the same stroke. 4n minus 8 is less than. Now we're going to distribute. That's going to be positive 4n minus 8. A negative 1, that's an invisible negative 1, times negative 4n is positive 4n. We're going to subtract 4n, and we get the statement negative 8 is less than negative 8. My variables cancel, so did it create a true or false statement? That is a false statement, so my answer is no solution. And I'm done. Your scores on 4 math tests are 79, 85, 86, and 88. What scores on your 5th test will give you a mean score of at least 85 of 85. So when we do averages, we add up the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. But we have a fifth score that we don't know yet. So we're going to add this fifth score, and now we have 5 numbers that we need to divide by. And my fifth test will give me a mean score of at least. So this solution has to be greater than or equal to 85. So write and solve an inequality. This is the right part, write an inequality. So this is part A. That is part A. And then part B is solve. So now we're going to solve that. Solve that. So the first thing I can do is I'm going to simplify. So I'm going to add 79. Let's get my calculator. Let's see. 79 plus 85 plus 86 plus 88 gives me 338. So 338 plus x over 5 must be greater than or equal to 85. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. I can't touch this stuff yet because it's in a vinculum. And a vinculum is a form of a grouping symbol. Very good. Oh, that was a long one. 338 plus x is greater than or equal to 25. 425 minus 338. X is greater than or equal to, carry, that's 7, carry, that's 8. So I need of a score, my fifth score must be 87 or more on my next test. Okay, so I need an 87 or more. Good. All right, now we move into section 4.5. Sorry, hello, 4.5. We're moving into section 2.5 now. 2.5. So now we're dealing with compound inequalities. So we look here and we see that we have less than signs. We got to make sure that that's numerical order. So yes, this is a proper one, and we're going to write 2 equations. We're going to write 5 is less than or equal to a plus 2, and because it's less than, it's going to be an and, a plus 2 is less than or equal to 8. So we take that middle piece and we're going to, we see that it's there on both of them, and then we're going to set it, we're going to write 2 equations, one with the 5 and one with the 8, okay? And why did we use an and? Because that is an and statement. So now we're going to solve it. Minus 2, 3 is less than or equal to a, minus 2, a is less than or equal to 6. Remember, we have an and that preliminary shading or graphing, it's going to look like this. So we'll do this in green. A is greater than or equal to 3. That looks like that. And we'll do this one in blue. A is less than or equal to 6. So since it's an and, I need where it is true, true. So we only have one true right here. We have 2 trues through this area, and then we're back to 1 true here. This is true for blue, but false for green. This is true for blue and green, and this is only true for green and false for blue. So when we have an and, I need where there are 2 trues. So I'm going to do a closed circle at 3 going to 6. And that will be my solution. So there will be a graph up on the top on your assessments, and I want that to be only your solution. If you need to create a preliminary I don't know how to spell preliminary, but that's your temporary one. All right, we know this is an or. Those are easy to see. So we're going to take each one and just solve it. It's pretty simple. Or a minus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 3. So we're going to multiply both sides by 9. That a looks very similar to a 9. Do not confuse that. So we have a is less than or equal to 9. Or let's add 6. A is greater than or equal to 3. Here's my preliminary. 0, 3, 9. Let's do this one. In green, A is less than or equal to 9. That's a closed circle. And then A is greater than or equal to 3. That looks like that. Ooh. So or is at least one true. So what do we have? We have 1 here. We have 2 trues here, 2 trues here. We have 2 trues here, and then we have 1 here. So my answer is going to be all real numbers because every number works. So I need that part, and then if I'm going to graph it, I'm going to do this. Do not give me the 2 double graphs like this. Do not give me 2 double graphs. I want just this line right here. I'm warning you, I'm telling you, students, pay attention to that one. I don't want to see an overlapping. This cannot be your answer. Did I make it? No, that's 9. That's interesting. So I do not want to see this and this as an answer. That doesn't make sense to me. If the answer is all real numbers, then you give me that as your solution. I'm going to get rid of those denominators. 2, 2, and 8. So the common multiple is 8. Or the greatest common factor is 8. And I'm going to multiply each thing by 8. That cancels, so it leaves me with negative 11 is less than or equal to. When I multiply the 8 times this becomes 4, and I have that numerator. So that's 4a. When I multiply it by this, cancels, and it's 4, and it is less than or equal to 4. Okay, that's cool. So, oh wow, I totally made the mistake. Sorry. That's such a horrible way. I thought it was one statement. I didn't see that it was 2 statements. You can do that. You'll get this, but Mr. Mack would not do it in that manner. Sorry. You can do it, but I'm going to separate them into 2 statements. So I'm going to take that middle piece and I'm going to write it with this, and I'm going to write it another one with this. Sorry about that. So I'm going to write negative 11/8 is less than or equal to 1/2 a, and because it's less than, and I'm going to write 1/2 a is less than or equal to 1/2. So if I multiply both sides by 2, cancels, it gives me negative 11/4 is less than or equal to a, and I'm going to multiply by 2, and I get a is less than or equal to 1. Let me make sure that I did that correctly. 11/8, multiply 2, 2 in the numerator, 8. Yep, that looks good. If I need, I can make that negative 2 3/4. So I can see a positioning. So I'm going to do my preliminary graphing. Negative 2 3/4, 0, 1. This one's going to give me a closed circle going this way. This one's going to give me a closed circle going this way. So the intersection, where is it true, true, is going to be negative 2 3/4. That's going to be right here. So it's between 2 and 3, and then to positive 1. So that will be my solution. It's going to be a segment. It's not going to go to negative 3 because it's negative 2 3/4. All right, that's a little bit of a tricky one. So again, we are going to write a plus 1/3 is less than 5/3, or a minus 2 is less than or equal to -3. We're going to subtract 1/3. We get a is less than 4/3, or we're going to add 2. A is less than or equal to -1. Let's look. Boom. We have -1, we have 0, we have 4/3. This is going to be open circle going to the left. This is going to be closed circle going to the left. So this is a tricky one. So at least one true. So we have 2 trues here. We have 2 trues at that border. We have 1 true. We have 1 true. And then we have this is false and this is false. So how do we write at least 1? So we have at least 1 starting at 4/3. Actually, no, it does not have 1 there, but infinitely close. So we're going to do this. -4/3 is going to be here. That's 1 1/3. So open circle. And then going to the left is going to be my solution. Ooh, that's a good one. -1 is closed circle. Oh yeah, good. Yep, -1 is closed. That's good. All right, that's the answer. 15 is a good trick one. See if you know it. All right, we're still compound. We're still going to write 2 statements. 2.5 is less than x minus 0.7. This time it's an, oh! So it is less than signs, but notice something's fishy. That's not numerical order. Still doesn't mean that we can't try it, but we better be aware that something might not be working. It's still an end. Add 0.7. We get 3.2 is less than x. Let's add 0.7. We get x is less than or equal to 1.2. No, 1.1. Hello. Less than 1.1, greater than 3.2. So 0, 1.1, 3.2, less than, no, greater than 3.2, open circle, less than or equal to, closed circle, and since it's an and, I need 2 trues. There's only 1 here. There's none in between here. These are all false values. And there's 1 true here and going to the right. So there's no place where there is 2 trues. So the answer to this problem is no solution. And we should have, right? I mean, that makes sense because they gave it to us in a very bizarre fashion. So be heads up, attention to detail. All right, this is an or statement. X plus 3.1 is less than or equal to -0.8, or or 1.2x is greater than or equal to -1.44. Minus 3.1 minus 3.1. X is less than or equal to -3.9. Or let's divide by 1.2. We get x is greater than or equal to -1.2, I think. I'm going to think it's 1.2. 1.44 divided by 1.2 gives me 1.2. Go, Mr. Mac. All right. Let's do our preliminary graph. And it's good to do the preliminary for reasons like this, because if we wrote that even as it's an or, that would be incorrect. We would have to write the correct answer. So be careful. Use the preliminary. -3.9, -1.2, and 0. So let's do this in green. Closed circle going that way. Let's do this in blue. Closed circle going that way. So that's pretty straightforward. All right. Now we have to find their locations. Negative 3.9 is right up along there. That's going to be a closed circle going to the left. And negative 1.2 is going to be just to the left of negative 1, looking like that. So that would be my solution. 18. Hopefully this is the last one of the compounds. This is an AND statement, so negative 20 is less than negative 6n plus 4, and negative 6n plus 4 is less than 34. Minus 4, negative 24 is less than negative 6n. Divide by negative 6. We get 4 is greater than n. And minus 4, negative 6n is less than 30. Divide by negative 6. N is greater than negative 5. Negative 5, 0, 4. This is going to be n is less than 4, open circle. This is going to be n is greater than negative 5. So negative 5 and 4, negative 5, open circle, all the way to 4, open circle. Good. Not done. All right, practice, baby, practice. This is an OR. 6 plus 2v is greater than or equal to 10, or 1 minus 6v is greater than or equal to 31. Minus 6, 2v is greater than 4, greater than or equal to 4, divide by 2, v is greater than or equal to 2. Minus 1, negative 6v is greater than or equal to 30, divide by 6. V is less than or equal to negative 5. That seems so familiar to just like the problem before. Let's see what it produces, if there's any trickery happening here. V is greater than or equal to 2. That looks like this. V is less than or equal to negative 5. That looks like that. So I am pretty sure that was pretty straightforward. Negative 5 and 2, negative 5, 2, and that should be my solution. Woo! Write an inequality for the given information. We don't have to solve it. A recommended storage temperature for chocolate is 15 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. So that means it needs to be between that. So it can be equal to temperature, or we can say chocolate and 20 degrees Celsius. So it can be, that's how you're going to write a compound. So it can be greater than 15 and less than 20. That's pretty easy. Absolute values. Here we go. Absolute values, we're going to write two statements, and it is greater than. So we know it's going to be an OR, so we write 10p is greater than or equal to 50, or 10p is less than or equal to negative 50. Divide by 10, p is greater than or equal to 5, or divide by 10, p is less than or equal to negative 5. Preliminary graph. Negative 5, 0, 5. P is greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0, or 5, excuse me, my brain is melting. And P is less than or equal to negative 5. So that would be my solutions to those. So closed circle going to the left, closed circle going to the right. And notice it's over negative 5 and 5. Remember, I'm going to write it in green. Isolate the absolute values first. So we have to subtract 7 from both sides. We get the absolute value of a over 10 is greater than 1. It is greater than, so we're going to make these an OR statement. we have a over 10 is greater than 1, or a over 10 is less than negative 1. Don't forget to flip the sign of the number on the right. We multiply both sides by 10. A is greater than 10, or multiply both sides by 10. We get a is less than negative 10. A is greater than 10. Oh, well, we forgot to write our numbers. Negative 10, 0, 10. So green is greater than 10. Blue is less than negative 10. So my solutions are going to be at negative 10 and positive 10. Make sure that those circles are over 10, where 10 is on the number line. This is a less than, so it's going to be an and statement. 7a plus 6 is less than or equal to 41, and 7a plus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 41. Minus 6, 7a is less than or equal to 35. Divide by 7. A is less than or equal to 5. And minus 6 minus 6, 7a is greater than or equal to negative 47. Ugh. Wow, that's not very nice. So we get a is greater than or equal to negative 47 sevenths. We can change that to a mixed number. 7 goes into 47 6 times, which is 42 and 5 sevenths. So just for placement value, reasonings, negative 6 and 5 sevenths, 0, 5. A is less than or equal to 5. Or right here, A is greater than or equal to negative 6 and 5 sevenths. So negative 6 and 5 sevenths is going to be between negative 6 and negative 7 and 5. And we're going to connect those dots. That looks good. Close circles on both of those. Don't forget, we have to isolate, get rid of the things being added and subtracted. Is less than or equal to negative 90. Let's divide by negative 10. Since we divided by a negative number on both sides, we're going to flip that inequality, which makes a world of difference in your solution. And now we're going to split it. It is greater than, so it's an or. R is greater than or equal to 9, or R is less than or equal to negative 9. Negative 9, 0, 9. This is going to be closed circle going to the right. This is going to be closed circle going to the left. And it's an or, so I can have both of them. So I'm going to have, so this is negative 10. I bet you how many people are going to make that mistake. So it's going to be a closed circle between that dash and going that way. And this is positive 10, so I want it between that dash. And that's negative 9 and 9. Yes. Who is going to be honest with themselves and really grade whether you did that correctly? That's probably going to be a place that a lot of people got problems wrong. And that's it. Oh, what a great problem to stop on. Okay. That's a great pre-assessment to measure whether you are prepared for the assessment tomorrow. Good job.